Welcome to the show. This is Stasia Bliss.
I will always remember the song at my birthday back in LA. Sitting in the deepest part of my heart, a heart that's got a lot to say.
We've got Asher
People
Reed.
try to tell me things will go wrong, but I'm just focused on what that can go right. Like maybe someday they'll be singing this song. Someday they'll hear it
Today's show, from the unreal to the real. I'm really excited to get to the chorus here. And all things are possible. So with that, we're going to go ahead and lead in today from the unreal to the real. Take a deep breath with me. So the show today was inspired by a talk that I listened to last night, and it really touched something that I think is really big right now. So I'm going to hone into consciousness right now and see how this wants to unfold for us together in the show. And the idea is this, that when we're moving from simply living a 3D reality to what would be called fourth dimensional, so we're stepping it up, the frequency is shifting, we're becoming aware of more things, there can be this odd sensation that you are viewing life like a movie. Things become a little unreal, surreal. They seem a little bit like it's not like it was in 3D when you were fully grounded into the matrix and you were just going along without that witness observer attitude. And that's really what I think it is we begin to develop in our process of evolution this observer, this witness. And this is one of the first steps in this awakening process, is that we really get to step back and begin to observe, hey, I'm not just this body, I'm not just this mind, I'm not just this personality, this individual doing this job or this relationship or this life, but hey, I'm something greater than that. I am this larger consciousness that's functioning and superimposed over this body vehicle. And I'm this body vehicle too, but I'm more than that. So this is step one, and that's when things start to seem a little bit unreal compared to how they were when you were immersed in the so-called reality. That doesn't really seem like reality anymore. As we begin to awaken, it seems sort of like a hazy dream that we're waking from. But what I want to talk about today is when the unreal, the seemingly surreal, begins to feel more real. And not real like it was before we woke up, but the real kind of real, and in a different sort of way. And so this was touched on in this talk that I watched last night as really being the cue that we're now moving from fourth dimensional frequency dimension into the fifth dimension. So in this shift, so from third to fourth, we step into that witness. We begin to notice that things seem different, that people seem to be acting in these programs, and we're not anymore. We're witnessing it, we're noticing it, and we seem like we don't fit in. But as we begin to develop and go through our own spiritual journeys and practices, and we do self-work, and we do a lot of purging of the old programs, we do a lot of clearing out of our mental constructs and our stuck emotions, we begin to recognize that we are acting as forerunners of consciousness, that consciousness is actually manifesting more light onto the planet, onto Mothership Planet Earth through us. And as this occurs, we are actually helping to cleanse, to clear as proxies for the entire planet. Now, that might seem like a lot of work for us, but it's kind of like what we signed up for. And many of us have been doing this before in other locations, on other, dimensional timelines, maybe other planets, maybe other lifetimes, where we've already done this work before. I remember the first time I read something like that and how much it resonated with me. It was reading Bringers of the Dawn, one of Barbara, I want to say McKennewick's books. But anyway, reading and realizing, hey, this is what I came here for. I came here to help with the shift of the planet. And that was, in the late 1990s, early 2000 for me, where I started to recognize and realize that was my journey. That was part of my job here, that I was anchoring a new reality and began to do the work on myself. So now, as I've gone through a lot of these processes, and as you have, if you're listening to this, and there's been a lot of clearing out, a lot of decluttering of consciousness, a lot of, letting go of old constructs, that we've not only been doing that for ourselves personally, and in fact, it's really important to recognize that a lot of the clearing that we're doing and that we have recently done is not just for us. Because if we totally claim it as just an individual purging process, then we are more apt to hold on to it and repeat it. Like, oh, I just can't seem to get over clearing this one thing. Or, oh, this just seems to be coming up for me over and over again. No. If you can claim and realize that you are a forerunner, you are an anchor of consciousness. And as that anchor, it is your job, your duty to channel the light in, and you are also kind of like a transformer where energy comes in and new energy comes in and old energy goes out through you. You have the capacity in your nervous system, in your cells, in your energy body, your chakras, your consciousness to purge old constructs. So this is what we've been doing a lot of the time up until very recently. And for me, I've recognized it, even as recently as this very last full moon in Scorpio. This seems to have been the final turn of the valve for me personally, where I feel like that just last bit of black ooze and goop that I've been clearing as karmic zoo for the one and all has somehow reached that tipping point where now something new is being experienced. Now it's really the opportunity for that real to take hold. So some of you and many of you are with me on this, and maybe you had your final valve turned early in 2015. Maybe it was around the powerful equinox and those set of eclipses. Maybe it was also recently, and maybe you're still in the crux of it till this next summer solstice time. But sometime in this year, because this is the time, this is that opening and portal where those of us who have been doing this heavy-duty lifting, the karmic purging for the all, the forerunners of consciousness, we are stepping through that mucky veil, now anchoring more fully by stepping wholly and truly into the truth of who we are, with our fields uncluttered. And those fields that are uncluttered, the stories that have been able to drop from around us, the uncluttering of our personal and the collective libraries that we've been helping to categorize and catalog, are falling, and we're able to now become more pure conduits for the light, for authentic truth, and just for the light of consciousness to pour through the planet. So as we do that, our payback, if you will, is to begin to experience life in this fifth dimensional way, where what I call the real is really just presence, really coming in purely and strongly. That we are able to anchor in the now moment, sure, with goals, with vision, with insight and potential, but now it's as if we are able to access knowledge, what to do, wisdom, more readily than ever before. And this is bound intricately with our ability now, because of all of the pressure that we've been going through, all of the heat of the constriction of what some have termed the incubation stage of our development and growth. Because of that time, we are now able to step forward in pure trust, knowing, yes, indeed, I know who I am, I know what I'm here for. It doesn't always look exactly the way that I think and have, envisioned or even affirmed for myself, but I know without a doubt that the higher reality, the greater consciousness system, has a job for me to do, that I am enacting and embodying as the vessel for consciousness on this planet, this job. And it's beautiful and it's fun. It's a fun one. It's a playful reality. It's why we came here now. We've done this so many times that now we get to actually enjoy the process. We get to laugh through it. We get to be amused by it. It's like a big cosmic joke in many ways. And really just get to play, dress up in costumes, laugh, like be amused, but really be in our power now, where the spirituality, the largeness of our vision, whatever you want to call it, that we've been working so hard on embodying, honing, learning, knowledging, if you will, bringing in the wisdom, now we just get to emanate it. Now we just get to be it and not necessarily use all the lingo all the time. Just simply allow it now to be fully integrated into our cells and being, live it, doing the things that we fully love. And now is the time also in this reel that the finances also get to be aligned with our spiritual greatness, if you will, our mastery of the time that we've spent in the dark nights of the soul, in the poverty, in the, relationship tensions and so forth, that we've broken through that barrier to this new vibration, this new space from third to fourth, fourth to fifth dimensional reality this year and this time, that we are ready, those at the forefront, to hold this new frequency and to fully integrate masculine, feminine, which is that spiritual matrix and that financial matrix together. So together, we've been waiting for this for a long time, but the time is now, and we will know the thing that we are, quote, supposed to do by what is easily coming to us. And we know that it is easily coming to us. We see the sign, what it is, we're excited by it, we enjoy it. It's also spurring further evolution for us, and universe is paying us for it. We are getting the yes because we're getting the dollar, and it's not that we're running after the dollar necessarily, it's just time that it's starting to easily flow by us stopping needing to think that we need to fix things about ourselves anymore. We don't need to continue doing the, quote, healing work process unless you're in that very last few moments of shedding the collective all. Maybe you just have a few layers left. Hey, I just have a couple of things to tweak here. And that's what a lot of us have felt right at the beginning of the year. Like I said, around the equinox, or just recently, I've just got a couple more things to shed that are in my way. This is where the emotion code work and beyond that I've been doing is really coming into play. Maybe some DNA activation practices, and then just really stepping through that veil from that seemingly surreal, unreal place, like things aren't really totally fitting, to just over the hump into real activation of God, Goddess, Self, the royal, divine nature pouring through in holy presence of, you know what, I got this. Whew. So yes, all things are possible now because those of us who have been doing, quote, the work on ourselves have dropped into our hearts. We are dropped in when we allowed ourselves to shed those veils between hearts. Now we've got heart-to-heart living. Now we can show by example what it looks like to live from the heart and be supported. And yes, the new leaders emerging in this time who will take the stage are those of us now who are coming into this balance of masculine and feminine. We are the ones who have been the misfits or the strange ones or the black sheep, or we haven't quite known our place, but we've been refining and honing these skills, and now we are stepping into it. So the real is this reality that is ever abundantly living. We are really effervescently, authentically living this real space. So if you're still experiencing life, and maybe you're just starting to experience life as this kind of surreal space where it looks like a movie is playing or whatever, maybe you're still in that fourth dimensional transition. But be aware and be keenly observant of that not needing to continue. If you've been in that space for a while, maybe 5 or 6 years, that's about the time period of this developmental incubation of expansion into a new way, a new dimension, if you will. So some people are just waking up, just going into that unreal feeling space of becoming the witness, just starting to do their yoga practices, just starting to become aware, hey, I'm not just this, personality. That's great. Those of us who are at that forefront of awakening, we get to example for them, because not everyone's doing it at the same time. Everyone's doing it at their own pace and in waves, and as it should be. So we get to turn around and example for those who are just waking up, just like they get to turn around and example for those who are still going through the grind in 3D, what it looks like to start to wake up. So moving from the unreal, the surreal, that's that secondary stage of awakening. That secondary meaning first is being asleep, secondary being the awakening, and now into that real, authentic presence where becoming the witness, that's just second nature. That's just, of course, you're witnessing your reality. That you don't even know how to not witness anymore. That's just part of the game. And, becoming awakened and witnessing and even becoming, what I'm calling real doesn't mean that you don't have emotions. It doesn't mean that you're living at this just completely blissful, like monk or Baba stage of, everything is bliss and enlightenment. No, I mean real. I mean, let's get real. Real has the full spectrum of emotions, of thoughts, of experiences, but it comes from heart now. It comes from connectivity to source, that authentic light shining through, and you don't need to get attached to the outcome. It is pouring through you. You are enjoying the beauty of existence pouring through you as the truth of who you are, and it comes out, it happens, and then the next thing happens. It's not something you need to get attached to, cycle through, trap in your field anymore. No, we've been through all of that. You can feel when an emotion's coming through. You can feel what needs to happen with it. If you feel it wanting to linger, you address it immediately. You've become master of that. That's what I'm talking about in the real phase. We are real people interacting now with other real people, and these real people see each other. You know when you see another real, you get eye-to-eye contact immediately. There is not a need to quickly look away. There is a pause. There is an acknowledgement. Hey, you know what? These are the other leaders. See them, give them a smile. You know your time is coming. Another thing I loved about the program that I just watched the other night was this awareness that we do not know what's going to happen in the world or what stage the world evolution is at by looking out at the world and what's going on. Instead, that is just showing the state of other people's awareness, but it's our response to it. Our response to the world, the way that we're looking at what's happening. Oh, my response to what's happening in the world, my perspective of it, that's how I know where we are in the shift. When I can look out and go, interesting. Okay, so people are rising up. People are speaking out against their governments. People are marching in the street. People are saying no to this, no to that. Yeah, that's about right. I'm stepping into myself. I'm saying no to the tyranny of the old, lower mind. I'm stepping into my truth. And I'm looking at that as, yeah, I see that that's in its process. Those people are awakening. I'm seeing the layers of this awakening process. And when it is time, quote, time, those of us who are in the real, the presence, the now, we're simply holding the still space as the tornadoes are rushing around us. And at some point, there's going to be so much tornado around as so many transformations are going on. Only those standing in the still space are going to be able to lead anything, because we're the only ones not wobbling, ready to fall over. We're the only ones not going, what's going on, and starting to question self. And everyone who hasn't gone through a spiritual awakening of some sort is about to. So do you remember how that was for you, and how disorienting and how strange and how disconnected from life you became? Okay, well, that's about to happen to a massive number of people. So as that happens, there needs to be those who are grounded and are able to go, you know what, it's okay, I got this, I know what's going on, especially as the whole entire earth now is awakening, as, contact with our starseed family starts to happen, yes indeed. As this happens, those of us who are okay with ourselves, with our spiritual development, and have the financial security that is now coming to us, we step into the space of those who will show the way. So I invite you to take a look at where you are. You probably know, as we've been talking, at what phase that you're at. And most likely, if you're listening to me right now, that you're in the same place I'm at. And that is, you have just stepped from that surreal observer, witness, dealing with all your stuff, purging all the old stuck stuff, into the now, this year, powerful, authentic, present moment of what I'm calling the real, because this is where it really starts to happen and really starts to get fun. I'm so grateful that we've made it. I feel like I've waited forever for this time. Forever! So thank you very much for joining me today. That's about all I have to say. You can find Ash Ruiz on ashruiz.com and his music. Go out there. All things are possible. This is Stasia Bliss, Bliss in the House. You can find me on my website, blissinthehouse.com. It's our time. Love you.
mission is to sit at the desk. Then more power to you and to your boss. And if it's not, then I think that it's best to kind of tell the corporate world to